Let's you know what? Let's start off with a prediction for 2013. How about that?
A prediction?
Yeah. You want to make a prediction for the
What
new year?
kind of prediction?
Someone
Whatever you
will
want.
claim that the world will end.
Lame.
I will buy more Avatar stuff.
That is terrible.
Really?
That I'm not gonna. Darn it, because I don't want that to come back.
What do you mean?
We're still doing this, dude.
The question I put on there. Well,
I think it's a legit question. I was going to bring it up when we talk about it.
what that it's like it's pointless at this point.
Yeah.
It's really just the Sean Award anyway.
It is.
It's for him.
But do you even
That's why
really
we do
check
it.
much stuff out?
Yeah, he does all the time.
Because
He's always telling. He just told me the other night. He's like, "You see all that Mega Man stuff?" I'm like, "No, I don't look on there." For like, it's been like 6 months since I've looked on that.
It's fucking sad that I'm like, that's one of the first things I go to is the Avatar store. Shut
So
up with your eyes, Craig.
It's
They're dry.
don't make eyes at him.
I read between your eyes.
Oh, lies. I read between your lies. I read between your thighs. Hey everybody, welcome back to Signed In 108. I am Jeremy Superfro 33.
I'm Craig Profdresser.
And I'm Sean Shonix.
And this is our special end of the year, beginning of the next year, look back at 2012, look forward to 2013, which is the year that we're currently in, episode. That is the complete title.
I'm refusing to move forward to 2013. I'm just going to stay in 2012. I'm backlogged in games, so
You're not looking forward? You're refusing. Are you going to
just-
leave during that part?
I'm just going to stay here in 2012 and continue to play these games that I didn't get around to.
Well, the games I thought were coming out in 2012, now they got release dates for 2013, so I guess that works out kind of in that way.
It kind of does.
Yes, can I just copy and paste my list from last year?
I think I did on some of them. That works.
Yeah. I got 4 games that I wrote down for last year that I'm looking forward to for
Awesome.
next year. So,
Well, we're going to look back at...
get on it, kids.
We're going to look back at what we enjoyed from 2012, some of our favorites. Also, some input from the listeners.
Yes.
We have some of those folks that
That's my favorite part, actually.
also threw in some stuff. And we had a lot of people that wrote us and just let us know their picks, but then we had a couple people that also flushed it out a little bit and let us know some.
Embellished.
They did. Let us have some commentary along with that as well. So I'll be sharing some of that.
Those are all nerds.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta tell you, this is why I like this game.
Meanest.
Yeah.
You're the meanest.
Seriously, why write in then? That's not what we
See,
asked for.
Remember how you have like one nice thing per year, Jeremy?
Yes, yes.
Sean saves up all
The
the
one meme.
meanness for the end of the year. And
I just took a look at the list of the people that wrote in. He's right.
I'm coming out in 2013.
right.
I'm coming out in 2013 and pissed off and mad and
this is your
dicks.
You just said 2013. Are you going to keep that? 2013.
I don't know how to talk either.
That's how I'm going to refer to it all year. The shit year.
I'm gonna buy me a hammock.
I am going to say this. I did not get through Red Dead Redemption in 2012.
That is my disappointment for the year.
Largely because of XCOM. I sunk a lot of time into XCOM.
Wait, I gave you XCOM as a present, so this
right.
is your roundabout
Enabler.
way, just like insinuating that it's my fault.
Basically.
Dick.
But that will be my resolution for 2013, is to finish Red Dead Redemption.
Cool. 2013.
It will get done in 2013.
13.
Awesome. Well, that's good to hear.
Yes.
And we can do that private chat.
Yes. Very timely.
So we don't want to give any spoilers.
I won't do any DLC till
I still won't
2014.
spoil that game.
I won't either.
I still won't.
I'm still hardcore, like really uptight about it.
I have a buddy that still believes that he finished the game,
But he hasn't, and
and
you
I
won't
can't
tell him.
say anything.
Like you're not done.
Yeah, I keep saying that. And he's like, "No, I finished it." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Google it."
Well, you don't point him in the direction either. That doesn't make it.
I ain't gonna spoil it for him.
I don't sell him the drugs. I just point to the guy over there who I take the money from later.
No, I don't work with Google. I don't work with those
That's true.
guys.
That's true.
I'm just like, hey, just if he wants to do it, he can do it. But I ain't gonna spoil it for him. And he doesn't.
right.
He doesn't listen to the show anyway. So
Well, let's just jump in then and start
do
doing
it.
our
Yeah.
favorites of 2012, and we're going to kick it off with the most important category.
Of course.
And when Craig, you were questioning why we even had this category around.
Well, I have something I want to say about it.
I questioned it when I put it on our list.
It's not.
No, I don't take offense to it. Guys.
It's not challenging the category. It's challenging what Microsoft did this past
All
year.
right, so this is the Avatar Awards.
Yes.
So, or the awards. I just said it was like a
Avatar
real award. Sorry. Our favorite Avatar.
I believe we decided these awards were the signed indies.
Our favorite Avatar item of this year. And so, what is your issue with it? Is it because they completely minimalized a lot of them?
They did.
when they did the update.
Agreed.
They
Yeah.
neutered everything.
It's annoying,
like,
right?
Like the any sort of accessory is pointless now.
Yep.
Because it is almost. I mean, you have to really go looking for people's accessories.
Well, you have to go to their profile.
Yeah, you have to
and
look at
then
their
click
profile.
on it and click on it till yeah.
And then even looking at most of them, you have to really go into it. Whereas before it was right there, and I would, that would be the first thing I did when I logged in. Is I would go down and I'd fly through the list of who's online, and I'd see all the cool stuff that they had. And I haven't paid attention to any Avatar stuff since they've done that update because I don't really find much point to it anymore.
Yeah,
Because,
I'm kind of in the same boat.
because I don't even look at my own character. Like,
Yeah.
your character used to be the first thing you saw,
yeah.
but now that's not even the first thing you see.
Yeah.
So anyway,
But it is really important to Sean.
It's not as important as
I love
it, though.
I like
it's
the Avatar stuff.
It's a sickness.
I'm just kind of pissed off that like they neutered it themselves.
yeah.
Yeah, that they marginalized all of this
Well,
stuff.
props. I mean, props. I'm not giving props to anybody. I'm talking about the props. Props are useless. Like that's you might as well just get rid of them now.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make any sense. I really
Nobody
like.
will see me breakdance anymore.
I really there was a lull this
Not-
year with Avatar.
Not in Avatar
Yeah.
form.
Well, yeah, there was a lull this year with Avatar Awards, but then there was a lot of freebies going on, which I thought was really cool about it.
But they didn't promote them. I mean, like
You had to find them. You had to click
Yeah.
on the advertisement.
I mean,
and I get
kudos to the game tab, the game place, because they moved indie up to a more prominent
yeah.
place, but Avatar got shoved all the way to the back.
yeah.
Which is fine for some people because
Sure.
a lot of people were kind of anti.
Yeah.
But it's still there and they're still putting out things and they want you to buy them. And it's
Right.
kind of hard to justify buying, I would think, from people to buy them if you're not even
Exactly.
seeing them anymore.
Exactly.
So,
Unless you're me,
and so,
because I'm going to buy something, especially something that I think is worthless. Well, it is. All of it's worthless, but something that I think that I just said is pointless about the game, and it was a prop.
and?
Thor's hammer.
Okay.
I mean, that was just the
Thor's
I
hammer. Is
love
that your
it.
favorite of the year?
He does the lightning strike. He spins it, and I'm saying he, me, and me.
Right. Your guy.
But
Yeah.
it hits it on the ground, lightning effects. I thought that one had a really sweet effect.
No, they
to
did.
it.
They designed some really cool ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one I paid the money for it.
I had
$3.
I had none until you reminded me of the Wreck-It Ralph head.
Hey,
Then I had none, and then I forgot that I got that, and now I've been using it for months, and I completely forgot about it.
Because you never see it.
yeah,
Because I never see it.
don't.
Right, exactly.
You don't.
I'd see when I sign in. That's about
Yeah.
it. So that would probably be my pick as well. But
and your
it's been
threadless
pretty.
tee is really cool.
But that's not from this year, is it?
I don't think so.
I don't think it
know,
is.
but I'm just saying
It's
cool.
so old. It is awesome. It's my real life little guy.
I still love my Moonhead.
Yeah, and when you rocking the
My wife does
robot,
not.
What?
She does not like that. She's like,
moon-
"What
It's
the
the
hell is
best.
that? What is wrong with that person?" I go, "That's Craig. That's his." I'm like, "Here, let me get on him so you can see him breakdance too."
so cool.
It's the best.
And then she's like, "Make it stop, please."
I like it.
We had a couple write-ins, just some generic stuff. I don't remember some of the comic stuff. Was the Nightwing shirt this year as well, or was that older?
It came out with Batman Arkham City.
So it was last year.
that was last year.
All right. Well, we disqualify that person.
Yep.
Sorry, forever.
It's a great shirt though.
But there was also some
Sorry,
write-ins
forever?
for some. There was some write-in for some of the Battlestar Galactica, some of those items, some of the Adventure Time items, and then also we had a mention for that Skag pet that came out of the Borderlands stuff.
Ooh yeah.
There was a little pet that you could get.
Yeah.
He'd run around and do stuff. So
And no one will see.
no one will ever see him. All right.
Unless you're just sitting on
You
people's
can't, you
profiles.
can't even look at your own avatar or props.
Not without getting into
going to
your,
profile,
actual
right?
dude. Yeah.
That's fucked up.
It is.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
It's annoying.
What I don't,
Shaking
they
your head
even
in
have
anger.
they even have your avatar come out and
hell?
wave and say, "Hey, I'm over here now."
Yeah.
But that's the only action he does. Hey, I'm over here.
'cause I
Come and
liked
click on
that.
me.
I liked that stuff.
Yeah.
but
All
So
right.
did I.
they neutered it.
Let's
So
move
did I.
on
I
to
thought
the
it was
whole
fun.
like a more meaty subject.
Hey, this was a topic of debate.
Let's
here
get
for a
into
second.
it.
This was
We got political.
We were getting deep.
Contentious. How about
anyway,
philosophical.
it might be the most contested one that that we'll talk about all episode. Let's move into indie games.
Ooh.
So, does anybody want to start it off? Indie game of the year.
I will.
Give some honorable mentions if you want.
I
whatever
do
you
have a
want.
runner-up, but I'll wait until everyone's given theirs. But mine, and it was a very tough choice because I play a lot of indie games, and there were a lot of really good ones this year. And it's unfortunately not even the one that I've played the most this year. Like, because there's one that I booted up again just the other day.
Yeah.
A couple days ago. But the one that I will give it to is Zeboyd Games' Penny Arcade, blah, 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 3.
Okay.
The RPG that...
Precipice of slippery slopes of
Something,
rainy
yeah.
precipices.
Yes. I can never remember. So finishing out the trilogy of the Penny Arcade games, which I had pretty much written off after the first one, and they brought me back in, and it gave. I mean, it's Zeboyd Games, and so they have a really good sense of classic RPG goodness. But taking out a lot of that grind that you would find in a lot of RPGs and infusing humor. It was a very funny game. Apparently there was DLC or an update for XBLA that offered a few more things. I never actually got back to that, but I put a lot of hours into that. That lasted quite a while and it had a lot of depth to it, and I just thought it was a really good, solid, meaty entry. It's a 400-point game, but you definitely see where those $5 should go, and it's definitely one of those ones where it's like, well, it's $5. That's at the upper end of the spectrum, but that totally deserves it.
And also, and I didn't even get to check that out like I wanted to, so I would love to go back and do that. I probably should.
You really should. It's a really fun. I mean, even if you don't care anything about Penny Arcade,
cool.
Or you don't need to know the beginning games or anything like that. It's just a really good game all on its own.
My pick, I went back and looked at everything that we've had for XPLIG this year, and there was a ton that we talked about and a ton that we played. And it was kind of difficult. I didn't know how to measure it with, like, sometimes I spent a lot more time, but it wasn't necessarily as enjoyable as a game. I went with the thing that had the most impact for me, was the most fun, and that was Super Amazing Wagon Adventure.
Whatever.
That was my runner-up.
So, I mean, it was a blast, and I thought it was hilarious. I still think it's funny. Did they?
Yeah, there's
I haven't played it in a
more
while,
content
so-
in there now.
Nice.
That's awesome. I haven't played it in a while.
Yeah.
But
That's the one I booted up a couple days ago.
it's so bite sized, and you can just jump in, and it's
so fucking
different,
hard.
and it's hard, and it's different every time you play it. Almost,
Yeah.
I mean,
I fucking love my
messes
Falcon
things up.
guy instead of a gun.
That is awesome. So it was a blast, and so I think it's 80 points, right? It's
80
like $1.
from
Sparse Spectre.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was yours as well, Sean.
Yes.
And that was your runner up.
Yes, and he released it on PC, and with the PC they got a copy of the soundtrack, and so then for the people who had already bought on Xbox indie games, he also released the soundtrack for free, I believe, on Bandcamp, or it's a pay what you want because I paid $5 for that. Soundtrack has all the songs in it, including remixes of 3 of the songs, including the very memorable rap remix of the Desert Theme. Have you guys heard this?
I don't think I have.
Oh, it is fantastic because it is him rapping about the game, like
That is awesome.
as in a person in the game.
That's great.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is great.
I'll have to check it out.
I listen to it a lot.
That game was like Oregon Trail, just awesomeness. Like
On
if
acid?
if I sat in the library and got to play that game back in middle school, I would have been like, "This is the best day of school ever."
Well, I did want to mention a couple of my other runner-ups that I had as well was Die Hard Dungeon, which I loved. I thought that was a really well done game. And the most recent one that I played that I actually enjoyed quite a bit, and that's Bleed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I really like how that
about
one
that
left as
last
well.
episode.
So those are my other runner-ups.
That was a solid one. That's another one that's definitely worth the 5.
Yes.
I mean, you look at it and
Agreed.
you're like, definitely.
We also had Evil Quest that came out
Yeah, that was early last year.
this year?
Yeah, it was early. It was like January.
Yeah, it was early. And then
Wow.
SEAL Team 12, which was just fun, which was just really.
I don't think
really
I ever
fun.
checked it out.
We've got. I know
you
it's,
guys talked about
we're
it.
gravitating towards all these goofy games.
Yeah, but that
tongue-in-cheek
I think
games.
that
That's
I
what
really,
it's for, though, too.
And,
I mean,
and it was
it's a
done
good
really
platform.
well, just the same way with the Super Amazing Wagon Adventure. So yeah, yeah.
And we did have a lot of people that wrote in, but didn't necessarily include indie games.
Right.
But we did have a couple votes for Super Amazing Wagon Adventure as well, so that went out. And then we did have John 8U, who we know from Burnt Wiener's podcast.
Yeah.
He provided a couple of games that he played as well, and he says Battle Paths or Faceplant Adventures.
Faceplant Adventure is very good.
He picked two since there wasn't enough to choose an avatar.
I don't remember Battle Paths.
Battle Pass. I don't remember it either. I don't recall. But anyway, John says
Sorry.
he picked two since he wasn't lame enough to choose an avatar item.
Nice.
So he made up for it with the second choice here.
I see him wearing Avatar stuff. I don't know.
There you go.
You know, if you're gonna say it's lame, just take it off.
But he says I really enjoyed both games.
Come on, naked avatars
You
out
always
there.
tell him to take it
I
off.
do.
I really enjoyed both games quite a bit, although I'm pretty sure I never ended up completing either one of them. Both had slick design, lots of polish, and had a nice combination of giving you something that felt familiar to play, but with some very clever additions to old gameplay. So, thanks, John. I agree. At least with the one that I played. I don't know about the other one so much, but
I think he made that one up.
he might have.
Yeah.
It sounds familiar.
Might not exist.
Actually, I don't think it's that old.
He's a liar. All right, let's move on to XBLA.
Okay.
XBLA Game of the Year. Xbox Arcade.
This was a toughie.
It
tough
was
for me,
hard,
too.
wasn't it? Actually,
There's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
This year.
this actually falls into a category that I was going to talk about later, and that was regrets of the year. Because there's a lot of games I didn't play this year.
Oh.
It really came down to XBLA when I sat and looked at it. There's a number of games that were XBLA games that I didn't play or didn't buy when I should have.
Right.
And I'm sure we'll talk about some of them here in a minute. But who wants to kick off XBLA? You want anybody?
I'll kick it
Step
off.
up.
The XBLA game. This was a hard decision.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of good stuff, but The Walking Dead won it out for me. It just because of the way just the way it was presented, the way it pulled me in, and I could see myself. I mean, later it's going to be a disc game.
Yeah,
It
I mean,
is already
it's a disc
now.
game now.
Oh,
yeah.
they already have it out.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm living in the past. But anyway, so like I
Time for the holiday season.
That's 2012 stuff,
yeah,
man.
no doubt. I guess I missed it on the shelves, but that game pulled me in, kept me going. Yeah,
It's my pick as well.
Yeah.
I might as well jump in, I guess, because
because I know I'm going to play it again.
it's hard because I didn't. I disqualified it from DLC. I just counted it as
Yep.
XBLA, just
Oh,
as the
sure,
package. We did get a lot of people that wrote in that included as DLC, so that might be a little scarce when we get to it, that category.
Sure.
But it was the complete package for me.
Yeah.
The format was amazing. I love that, the storytelling of the chapter as far as, every month we had a new one coming out. I love the idea that they're going to continue on doing this kind of style for the game. We've talked about it at length on the shows.
Yeah.
I loved it and thought it was a great voyage.
Yeah.
whole
No,
time.
it is a great game. Unfortunately, my glitch killed it as.
Oh,
Sure,
yeah, that's
sure.
right. Your momentum got killed.
Yeah,
It did, and now that I'm going back through it, I'm not, it's not an experience anymore. I'm playing the game now.
Yeah.
Which really sucks because I never got to finish the experience part of it.
Right.
yeah.
So that actually did not win it out for me. I still have not even finished all that stuff. I've got a winner and then I got a runner up here. So I'll give you a runner up first. Actually,
Go for it.
My runner up is Dust: An Elysian
Yeah.
Tale.
That's one of my regrets.
yeah.
which
As a runner-up,
was really robust and was just elegantly designed and a really small team working on that, if I remember correctly.
It's one guy, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. And especially if you compare that to something like Fez that came out earlier, which had its strong points, but didn't come off nearly as polished as something like Dust did. And I thoroughly enjoyed that game. I think I played through it twice or something like that.
Nice.
And great cinematic scenes and characters that were fun and I liked a lot. But it didn't quite win it out. I debated it for a really long time. What won it out, however, was Mark of the Ninja.
That's another one of my regrets.
Because
See all these great games I didn't play.
while that was less on story than Dust and Elysian Tale, and that's where I kept going back and forth because I'm like, I like Dust a lot more for its story, but Mark of the Ninja was just really solid gameplay wise, and giving me all of those options for what I wanted to do. And the fact that I had completely different playthroughs on it, and I played through it like 3 times or something like that.
That's great.
That was just really, really solid for me. I think, they were both really worthy of it. It's just if I had to remind myself that Dust came out this year. Actually, I have to admit.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it sticks in my mind, but I was like, did that come out? Okay, yeah, that did. Whereas Mark and the Ninja, I remember it's that
fresh.
one.
Yeah, I haven't finished Dust, and even though I haven't finished that game, that was my runner-up because that game is not one that would have. I just on paper it doesn't appeal to me, but then when I played it, it pulled me in, and something else must have came out.
There was something about
kick me out.
XBLA this year. Like there were so many games that I didn't play or didn't finish, or like checked out the demo and said, "Oh, I'll definitely get into that," and I never did. I was playing so many disc games that like so much of my time got sucked up with that. There's Dust, there's Mark of the Ninja, there's Hell Yeah, which I enjoyed, which I never went and played the full game. There's
that wasn't really close for a runner-up for me, but
But
it was a fun game.
these games that I just didn't check out. Anomaly Warzone Earth.
Yeah,
I bought that game.
Yeah.
I own it. I've never played it.
Never.
Never.
Like, not the demo.
Never. I bought it on your recommendation.
It's
and
a
I'm
good
like,
game.
it's going to be good. I'm going to enjoy it. I've never even started
You will.
it. I am terrible. I am worthless.
You need to do it, man.
But I want to mention one of my runners-up, which you mentioned briefly, which was Fez. And Fez was a hard pick for me, Walking Dead Fez. Walking Dead was because it drew me in a lot more. But I think Fez is brilliant. I think Fez is too brilliant for me when you get to the later game.
Well, I think
we had a lot of people write in about
it's
that.
too much conceptual.
Yeah.
Like it's not enough of a game, really.
Yeah, I enjoyed the first half of the game. And then you get to the second half when you kind of want to move on from where you've gotten, and it becomes a completely different experience.
Yeah.
And it kind of like... it's too smart for me at that point, and it was more work than it was fun.
Yeah,
I love the soundtrack. I love the soundtrack. So I just love a lot of things about that game.
I loved a lot of stuff too, but yeah, it didn't even really come close to as a runner-up for me, just because and it was very memorable for me as well. My fiance also remembers me playing that, and she's like, "Oh, I like that game," and it's a game I did like, but it's just not something I would call my favorite. Just in comparison to a lot of the other stuff that I played.
We had most of the people that wrote in were including Walking Dead.
Thanks for making me feel better, man.
That's cool, man. I don't take offense. That's cool. I didn't make the game.
Why are you getting all defensive?
Because I love it. Anyway, so most of the people that wrote in, Walking Dead was their pick. We also got some votes for Trials Evolution. The last Trials game that came out. And then we had an email from the J.A. Gamer who wrote in his pick for XBLA Game of the Year, which would be Awesome Knots. Which I never played. So I don't really have the experience.
It's all PvP, and that's kept
probably my
Sean
problem.
and I out of that.
But he says...
we both tried it out.
Yeah.
He says, remember that awesome intro and theme song? Yeah, you do. The game was just as awesome. Tons of fun replay value, and was through the roof, and it was only about $10.
It's
or only $10.
There's definitely a lot there.
Yeah.
If
you're into the
game.
PvP.
Yeah.
Which I'm not.
No.
Yeah. I only like to beat myself. I was trying to think of a joke. I can't think of anything. Whatever. I'm weak. All right. So moving on to DLC will be next. So our DLC of the year, and this is a hard category for me. Because
it's very near and dear to your heart.
No, I literally sat down and tried to think of any DLC I played this year.
Let me rephrase this. What's the favorite DLC that you purchased?
Let me talk about the change that's happened with me this year. I didn't even buy the DLC.
Oh, really?
So I haven't bought a single thing from Borderlands. I haven't bought...
Wow.
I didn't buy or get the free things from Mass Effect. I didn't do any of that stuff.
Wow.
I, for some reason, experienced the games this year and then moved on and didn't go back. I haven't gotten anything from Skyrim. I haven't...
Games are so disposable to you.
They are.
They're like Kleenex.
Sort of. So it was tough for me. I thought I had nothing until I came across Alan Wake's American Nightmare.
Oh.
And so by
Oh,
default,
I forgot you actually played that game and you played the extra episodes.
I did. So by default, I have to kind of pick that as my winner because it's the only thing I played. But I did happen to enjoy it quite a bit.
Yeah. You
So I had a good time with that.
Yeah.
I really want that franchise to go on. I want more of that that story and that
I would
experience.
definitely like more of that. Yeah.
Because it did get a little monotonous, but I kind of liked that about the DLC. I kind of liked how they did it with like Groundhog Day kind of effect going on. I thought it was cleverly done, even though it was obviously done to reuse assets and things like that. But whatever, it was still a fun experience, and I think it was a $10 game, so it's totally worth it. So that was my pick.
Awesome.
Cool.
For me, I actually had a fair amount of DLC. I did. Back on me, I have a bunch of stuff that I purchased that I haven't played. Actually, I'm trying to remember what it was for. I don't even remember what the game. Oh, it's for Quantum Conundrum. I bought both of those DLCs. I think I played the first one a little bit, but I didn't even play the second one. But what won out for me was the interestingly named episode pack for Asura's Wrath. It was the last.
Okay.
It was the one that added chapter 4, the Nirvana chapter to it. Which
That if you want the real ending, you gotta pay $6.99. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not. I'm just.
But here's the thing.
No. I thought it was.
Yeah, I mean-
no, I agree with you.
No,
I
know.
That's the
I know
haters.
that. I know that's not you. I was
Yeah.
responding to people who probably would think like that. I mean, the game itself was really solid at the ending for it. I mean, you could finish there and be just fine.
Yeah.
But man, the ending that they provide in those 4 chapters, amazing. It took all the over the top stuff from the game and went over that top. And it was just like that final battle against, that final guy and the way they were manipulating the controls, and we have talked about all that on that time in private chat. But
We did.
That one was really, really, really solid. I don't remember even how much that was.
I can't even think.
It wasn't like a ton.
It wasn't
for
that bad
4
at all,
chapters.
really.
At most, it would have been $750 because I think that there were some of them that were 5, and then some that were like $750, which would be like 600 points or whatever
Something
they were,
like that.
660. I can't remember what it works out to.
But it was great.
Well,
$560.
I'll coattail with that. I mean, I only bought a little bit of DLC, some pinball stuff,
Yeah.
Walking Dead, and for a game that I don't even own, Azura's Wrath, I bought all the DLC.
So did I.
forgot about
So
that.
did I.
I forgot.
Yeah,
We all borrowed Craig's copy
Yeah.
and bought all the DLC separately.
and even though I really like
That's right. I bought LA Noir DLC this year.
the episode pack was fantastic. 11.5 is what won me over. Episode
Which one's that?
11.5
Remind
is
me.
the one where he comes.
Well, I guess
You don't know?
I guess it's the Asura one, not the
the
other one.
Yeah. And so that was the armless Asura, like totally going.
that was a really
crazy.
good one.
And it gave an emotional response out of me, and that's what really pulled me into that game. I mean, I was enjoying that game, but after I played that, I was like, there's a moment where I had like goosebumps and just like.
Yeah.
I was rooting for him. I'm like, we're gonna do this, man. We're gonna bring down these guys, and I was like, let's do it. And that's
And
that,
you did it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I want to do it
Virtual
again
high fives.
with like 18 arms.
No, he had no arms.
Well,
He wants to do it again with 18 arms.
Yeah. gotcha.
When he gets all Azura's wrath out.
Well, we also had some emails on DLC. There are not actually a lot of people chiming in about the DLC. So, but we did have one from Snakehead Fish, who put in his vote for DLC of the year as Borderlands 2, Captain Scarlet, and her pirate's booty. That sand skift is such a great vehicle. I wish it was an option throughout the entire game. I haven't played the DLC, so that makes you want to play, right?
Kind
good.
of.
Kinda.
The characters are.
I just want to play Borderlands 2.
He continues on with the characters are all great, and their presentation intros are just what you would have come to expect from Gearbox. Funny. So,
Excellent.
thank you, sir. I will check it out someday, maybe.
And all the rest was Walking Dead. No, I'm sure.
Probably, yeah. You know what? That's right. I didn't include him on here because
Yeah.
a lot of people did just pile in the Walking Dead
Right.
Yeah.
chapters as DLC. So
Well, they were taking
Cheaters.
DLC.
I'm not judging them. It's okay. All right. Well, let's move on to Connect Game.
All right.
Favorite Connect Game of the year.
I've got a very strong
Let me start.
starter here. Okay, yeah.
I have nothing. I seriously don't think I've played a single Connect game this entire year.
Yeah. You played some Connect enhanced games,
Done.
but you didn't.
But I didn't play Connect. No, so I'm done. So go ahead.
Mine was an XBLA game, Haunt.
Yeah.
I talked a lot about that game. It came out free a few months back.
I got it for free. I still have
So
never
did I.
played it.
I haven't played it through.
It is
but
a
I
lot of
loved
fun. It's a very silly game, yes.
hate me.
But it's got some very fun voice acting, very clever use of the Kinect controls.
Yeah.
Keeps you mobile. It's doesn't get dull. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I highly promote it to other people.
I agree with I love that game. What I've played of it, I've downloaded it and I want to play it. I don't know what I was gonna push it off, and I'm like, I'll do it for Halloween, like the week of Halloween. I'll just I kept like pushing it off and pushing it off. And I want to give my vote to that, but since I didn't play it that much, I really enjoyed Racketeer. I thought
it was very good.
I thought
which also came out free this year.
I thought the handling,
I forgot to get.
the connecting was
I got it.
fantastic. I had so much fun with that. I mean, it's just Angry Birds essentially in a way, kinda.
But using your whole body.
But you're using your body,
Kinda,
and the Connect really. I felt like with Haunt, it really captured my movement,
does, yeah.
and it had to go to that. I thought it was awesome.
It's really good.
Yep.
I should play that Haunt. That should be my New Year's resolution, is
You
to play
should.
that game. I
'Cause
have it
it's
on my
good.
with that downstairs
For
Xbox.
2013, then.
Yeah, 2013.
You got time, man.
I do.
Get it done.
We'll see.
I want to
I'm
do it too.
motivational. I'm loving
I
it.
agree. I want to do it too.
You know
though.
what? Okay, we'll make a pact together.
Yeah.
So now we have to do it.
Sexy packs.
Also, we have to both finish Gunstringer.
Sexy. Oh,
What's that?
Don't worry about it, Craig.
What did you say?
Don't worry about it. I said also we have to finish Gunstringer.
Oh,
I didn't want you to judge us.
One at a time here.
did the DLC for Gunstringer come out this year, or was that last year?
I think they had that extra DLC. I don't know if that was this last year or the
Because
year before.
man, that Mexican whatever, that was a rough one.
I remember that. You didn't even finish it, did you?
No, I have not.
Because it was rough.
finished it. It's really
Yeah.
hard.
The votes that we had from folks that wrote in included Racketeer, so we got that covered here. Also, Star Wars Connect,
Oh yeah,
which I didn't enjoy, but
I can't back that up at all. Not even with a lie.
and some Mass Effect 3
Right.
with the
Yeah.
use of the way that Connect was used in that game, which I'd never
Did
played.
anybody do
around
dragon shouts and Skyrim? Wait,
No.
Wasn't that
nobody
an
wrote
update
in.
this year?
Yeah, it was. You could actually shout the words.
Yeah.
Do the shouts with the Connect voice commands. No, I didn't do that. Not at all. I did not.
disappointment.
That's what I'm here for. All right. But not disappointment. We're going to move on to our surprise game of the year. Mm-hmm. So a game that we necessarily weren't looking forward to or didn't expect and came out of nowhere and was kind of awesome.
Can I have a 4-way tie on this one?
I know, right? No, you
No,
can't.
I know I can't.
can't,
but seriously,
But I've got a handful of games that
Seriously.
I seriously was really surprised by.
I want to do a runner-up.
Okay, go ahead.
My runner-up, Lollipop Chainsaw.
Really?
Wasn't this game?
No, well,
No. Like
okay.
everything going into that game.
I love how
playing,
descriptive we are here.
Really?
but
No.
going in that game, I'm
Yeah.
like, there's so many things against this game. And
Right,
then I
right.
played
Sure,
it, and I'm
yeah.
like, this is totally like Shadows of the Damned, and I hate that game. Hated it.
Yeah, but Shadows
and then I kept playing it, and I'm like, the voice acting is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. Lollipop Chainsaw. I'm not trying to diminish it. I enjoyed it. I thought
Yeah.
it was a fun game, so I thought it was really good. I think I was expecting more out of it than
See.
what I got, and it would totally went more B movie kind of stuff, and I kind of was expecting that, but I didn't have the enjoyment that I got like from Shadows of the Damned, for instance.
Sure.
But I can totally see where you're coming from if you didn't have expectations.
Oh.
Unfortunately, I had too high expectations.
I
for
guess so.
It. Yeah,
But
it was fun.
But
a fun game.
I think Saints Row 3 won it out for
Okay.
me. There's something
Was
about
that this year? This
Yeah.
last year?
Yeah.
I totally forgot
Yeah.
about that game.
That was last spring.
The third, I'm sorry, Saints Row the third.
Yeah.
But
Oh my God.
that game, it's so off the wall craziness
Yeah.
going on in it, and normally that like rubs me the wrong way. But it's something about the package that really worked, and I
By that you mean the dildo bat.
the dildo bat.
Something about that rubbed you the wrong right way.
Well, when it it moves and gyrates in the air, it was really good. I like that game.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I've got a bunch of runner-ups as well.
'cause I think that game would have been just ass actually.
But my pick for surprise game of the year, and this literally came out of nowhere. I I was going to take a look at it. I wasn't expecting to want to sink in as much time as I ended up doing, and that's easily Dragon's Dogma.
Ooh, yeah.
I played the demo
Yeah.
based on you playing it, Craig, and it sounded
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
I went and played the demo, and I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Ended up picking up the game, renting the game, and sinking in so much time into that and not wanting to stop. And the way that they incorporate like using other people's characters
Right.
Yeah.
and sharing those, and it was just a nice fresh take on like being able to play a multiplayer in some way, you know, kind of like an MMO, but not really, you know, an MMO
Yeah.
light on your little Xbox system, as far as, you know, not being on a computer. And the gameplay was tight, I found. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was very monotonous and aggravating in some areas.
Yeah.
But that also led to me wanting to persevere over those areas. It wasn't a frustration where I gave up. It was a frustration where I went about things in a different way or tried them multiple times or kind of learned that I needed to play in a different way. And it was just a really, really well done game. I enjoyed it a lot. And we actually got a lot of people. That game got a lot of mentions this year from our listeners. And that made me feel good, you know, that other people shared that same idea
Yeah.
about that game. So I'll save some of my runner-ups, but
No, go ahead.
You want me to
I
share
want
some?
to hear your follow-ups because I can guarantee you guys didn't choose my surprising game of the year.
okay. A couple of the other ones that I had were Spec Ops: The Line,
Yeah.
which I know we talked about, and that is all based 100% on the way that they did that story.
Right,
There
right.
was really nothing defining about the gameplay that was separating it apart.
Yeah.
But the story was just so well done up until the very
I
end.
think the
of the
problem
game.
is that they buried buried it under very banal gameplay.
They
like,
did.
That demo
Yeah.
does not sell it well at all.
Right, because it's all about the progression of the characters,
Right.
and you can't get that from just a little sampling of it.
Yeah.
So, another one for me was Sleeping Dogs, which I put a ton of time into.
Oh, yeah, I never
thought
tried
that
that
game
one
was a
out.
blast. It was really well done. It was almost like a serious smart GTA.
Sure.
And with like throwing in those Batman style fighting mechanics.
Yeah.
And the way that you did that in close combat, it really kind of defeated the problems with GTA on some of those aspects.
Sure,
of like,
yeah.
you know, the gunplay was still a little loose
Yeah.
and not that great, but they did, you know, it's not anywhere near as bad as GTA. And definitely the close combat stuff was just really well done and hit it out of the park. And it was just really a fun game. My last one was Azura's Wrath. That was a surprise game for me because I
Yeah.
had no idea what to expect.
That one didn't count as a surprise for me because
You were looking forward to
I've
it.
been looking forward to it for a while.
And so when it hit me, I was like, I guess I'll check it out. And then you guys talked about it, and I was like, okay, I want to play it. And then I played it, and I was like, this is fucking nuts and awesome. You know, because I'm not a big anime fan.
No,
Yeah,
So,
sure.
and if you're an anime fan, you're instantly, I would think, in. But even if you're not, you know, if you're looking forward to it, but I wasn't expecting anything from it, and it was nuts and it was enjoyable. So those were my runner-ups.
I felt the same way about Need for Speed Most Wanted because I was just writing it off as another Need for Speed
Oh,
game.
right.
and it ended up being more of a burnout game.
Exactly. I was just like writing that off. And Max Payne 3 was up there too. Like I wasn't
You know, I
expecting
had that
to
and took it
enjoy
out.
I wasn't expecting to even.
I was really starting to look forward to that before it came out. Yeah. So that one didn't qualify for either.
those were games I would have normally shrugged
Cool.
off.
All right. So my surprising game,
Are you going to surprise us?
World Gone Sour.
It's funny when I was
The
looking,
Sour Patch Kids game. That is a really solid platform.
I love that pick.
I
do love
really
that pick.
like playing that game. I've had to stall it because my fiance actually likes watching me play it,
Yeah.
and so she asked me to hold off until she got back, and so it's been months. It's been like 8 months since I played it.
So you've been waiting.
Yes, and so but now that she's back, I'm like, I get to play World Gone Sour again. I'm really looking forward to pushing forward through
It
it.
is so funny that you said that though, because I'm looking through our games from this last year because I have to go back and look at all
Yeah.
this stuff because
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
so
I did
much
too,
stuff.
yeah.
No.
And I saw that game and I'm like, somebody's gonna fucking mention that, like, because I remember you loved that game so
It's
much.
so
You
good.
did really love it, and so I'm like, I know that's gonna come up at some point, and I don't know where. But it'd be funny if it did because I remember you saying how good it was, and it was kind of a write-off
It's
game.
really solid. Yeah,
and there's no reason
exactly.
it should be good.
No, I mean
should be
it's
terrible.
It's the lowest of licensed game. This should be at Doritos level.
Exactly, it should be a free game.
This should be like Old Spice games here, but it's you know, and it's kind of goofy, and you know, there's sometimes when you want to roll your eyes at the game
Yeah.
or whatnot, but the gameplay is solid.
Yes.
It's pretty darn funny.
Cool.
You know, they got Creed Bratton doing the
That's
narration
right.
on there.
Creed's in there. I forget that too.
I just reminded myself that I haven't played that game in 8 months. It feels like it wasn't that long ago. Like, it sticks in my mind. I think about it every once in a while. I'm like, oh, World Gone Sour. I should play that some more. It's a good game.
Well, awesome. That's a good pick.
Exactly.
Do you have any other runner-ups? Or is it you?
No,
you
that
good
was
on
it.
Okay. Well, we had some folks that wrote in. Rock Band Blitz got some votes on there. For me, that game, I was expecting more out of that game too. I think so. It didn't stick for me. But Dragon's Dogma, like I said, got a couple of mentions from people. And then we also got a write in here who provided a little bit more detail with JA Gamer again as well. And his surprising game of the year was Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed, which I haven't heard much about. So it's nice to get a little bit of press on it.
Yeah.
They had a lot of Avatar stuff for that.
Do they?
Yeah.
I haven't.
Helmets.
You would know.
I do know.
So
sad.
But he says, just to give you some background on it, I was expecting another generic kart racer,
Right.
kart racer clone like its predecessor, but I'm totally liking this game.
Awesome.
It may be my second favorite kart racer ever. On the outside, it's ripping off the flying water racing aspect of Mario Kart 7. But if you played Mario Kart 7, you know you simply glide at times in Mario Kart 7. There's no actually flying, and the underwater parts of Mario Kart, you're simply driving through water. And he separates it out here. Saucert. That's a mouthful, he says. Instead of saying Sonic and All-Star Racing Transformed,
I see. Yeah.
Sarcert. You actually fly at times during races, and when it's time to hit the water, your car shapeshifts into a boat form, and it actually feels like driving a boat in a video game.
Nice.
So, there you go. I haven't even taken a look at that game. So
Nice.
It's nice to know.
Cool.
Good to hear.
Surprising.
It is surprising.
I think, yeah.
Hence the
XBLA
name.
game. Yeah.
All right, so let's move on
World Gone
to
Sour.
disappointing games. On the heels of surprising games.
Yes.
Let's go the opposite, and these are games that you were looking forward to and did not maybe fulfill your dreams or wishes.
I had a tough choice. I actually had a tough choice with this one.
Because you had multiple disappointing games?
Well, just because of how to interpret that.
Right. Because you're not a negative Nancy.
No,
Like me.
I tend not to dwell on that sort of stuff. But just as in a game that ended up being kind of disappointing because I was really into it at first, and then as I played through the game, my desire for it really waned sharply, despite the fact that I bought both DLCs, is Quantum Conundrum.
Okay, yes.
Because it's a really cool concept, and I had a lot of fun in the beginning of the game, but then the platforming elements really start to wear down on you. And then I think I mentioned when I talked about the first DLC, they take out all of the quirky stuff for it, and it's just gameplay basically.
Yeah.
And it really starts to show its seams there.
Weaknesses.
Yeah, definitely. So Quantum Conundrum was disappointing in that I was really excited about it before it came out. I got into it when it first came out. I bought it right away, and then as I played it, I've waned and waned and waned. For just flat out disappointment, maybe more conceptual disappointment from our XBL summer uprising.
Okay.
Sententia.
Oh.
You were pretty angry about that game.
Not so. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people might have missed that because I was on our summer uprising episode.
You should go back. If you like
That was
Angry Craig,
That was one of
Yeah.
my bigger
you
rants.
should go back and listen to that episode.
But here is my argument in a nutshell. It's not even so much that it's a terrible game
And it is.
in terms of gameplay and trying to weave story into gameplay and all that stuff, and design and all that. And it looks like it was crapped out in a weekend.
Yes.
But what was the most disappointing about it was to discover that, this was the game by the guy who was organizing Summer Uprising. And this was the second game that came out. And so, the only say in whether or not this was going to be involved in Summer Uprising, which is basically the premier indie game, XBLIG, focus of the year, was the guy who was putting it together. And so, I found that kind of abusive of the whole system and
hurtful to the promotion.
hurtful to the
Potentially.
promotional, definitely.
Especially it being the second game.
Second game, yeah. Thank God it wasn't the first game. I may have stopped my whole. I'm just going to flat out buy every one of these games. No, seriously,
Yeah.
I may not have done
second
that.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that one fits in there as well.
Cool. I'm gonna go with There were a couple actually that I have, and some of them for different reasons. A couple of my runner-ups. One of them is an obvious one, maybe, but I think I had some expectations going in that I was hoping things were going to be a little bit different, and then it wasn't. So one of my runner-ups is Halo 4.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
It looked great. Yeah. I still think it looked great, but I still think
a lot about the story.
I still think it played like the other ones,
yeah.
And that was a problem for me, in some of those aspects. Oh, yeah. So I kind of fell back into my disappointment, and I know it doesn't maybe count as some of these other ones do, but another one for me that was a little odd was Assassin's Creed 3. Which I didn't like the last game. I was kind of looking forward to them going back to this.
People kind of grew quiet about that game.
They did,
really
right?
Fast.
Because it was weird. I think it's a weird game. Yeah. I think it's good sometimes to change what you're doing,
right?
And to keep things fresh and to mix it up. But sometimes there's a consistency that you would want to keep there, Yeah. And it doesn't feel like that game was consistent. It felt like it took forever to get started, and so it was really disappointing because I wanted to kind of sit down and sink into it and kind of be absorbed with it, like I was with the last couple, or Brotherhood and 2, and it just didn't happen for me. So that was a disappointment. But my ultimate disappointment was I had a lot of expectations. I was hoping that they would change up and fix some things that were a problem with the first one, and that would be Epic Mickey 2. I really wanted to enjoy Epic Mickey. Sure. I love that world. I love that universe. I love the Disney stuff.
Yeah.
You add in the co-op.
Terrible game.
You do. It is. And you add in the co-op, and the way that they decide to do the co-op by not split screening things or doing it at certain times but not others, and it just
and the way they do the single player.
And the way you do the single player where you can't control between the two people, you can only play the one, is so backwards to me.
It's so weird.
And there's just so many things done in that game that are backwards. The camera's still a pain in the ass. It's just, it was so disappointing to me. I really wanted it to be great. I really wanted my wife and I to be able to sit down and play it.
Yeah.
We did, and it was okay. It just wasn't as fun as it should have been.
It was no Lego game.
It was more frustrating than anything. So it was kind of a bummer for me.
I had one I didn't have high expectations of, but when I think of Resident Evil, I think back to my old golden years. And even when the GameCube came out and they redid the first one and it was so awesome. I played through it again. But Orc really, that's my runner up. Orc really was disappointing. I didn't even get that far at
Orc.
all. Operation Raccoon City.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you were leading towards Resident Evil 6. I forgot about Operation Raccoon.
Although Resident Evil 6 could probably go in mine too.
Yeah,
I didn't like that.
I had never played 6 because of Orc.
Well, that shouldn't be yours.
I know it shouldn't, but guess what? Stamped.
Orc was terrible.
Resident Evil, just I didn't have really high expectations from it, but I wanted Resident Evil, and there was something different about that.
Came out.
Yeah. But I put about 40 hours into this game, and why should it be my most disappointing game? Because I wanted to fucking get it done, and that was Darksiders 2. I went into that game with such high hopes, and the hopes were met.
You did end up disappointed. I remember the second time, or the last time you talked about it. You were disappointed.
Oh,
I remember that. Because I was surprised.
It beat me. It literally was like, you are going to... I had to end that game.
Because it became a chore.
I had to... Exactly. And it was the rule of 3 over and over again. I had to fight 3 guys, fight them down, and fight them again, and fight them again. And it was just to the point where this is not like the first game.
Yeah.
It had the tropes. It had everything I liked about the first game. I enjoyed it. But it was like, could I just cut it in half?
Yeah.
40 hours? And I still had side quests. I still had a bunch of other shit to do. And for me to put 40 hours in a game
is unheard of, right?
It's like Crackdown time. That's when I'll do it. But and I hate it because that time too. But it's like, I don't know. I don't want to be disappointed because I enjoyed the game.
It burnt you out.
I liked the game, but in the end, I was like, that's it.
No.
Shelved. And I didn't even buy the thing.
You didn't.
I put money into that.
You probably almost bought it.
Almost. I think it was. I was a rocking half off then.
Without owning it.
At least $35 probably. Oh my
that's
God.
all right. If you got your time out of it though, you would have been able to sell it for like 35.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
$30 maybe.
Oh, but gosh, that game.
Well, we did have a lot of write-ins for disappointing games. This has actually garnered a lot of feedback. So I have a couple here. Both Dom, who posts on our site quite a bit, wrote in Cod Blops Deuce for his disappointing game.
Did he write it like Cod Blops Deuce?
He did. He wrote exactly Cod Blops Deuce.
Awesome.
And here's the reasening. I suck at it. Playing the story mode, I ran the wrong way in a wood, ran out of ammo, and got caught in my own bear trap. In multiplayer, I died a lot and swore, then died some more. I've sold it now and play Borderlands if I want to shoot anything. So there you go.
Probably a smart move.
Yeah.
Also, Havoc and Chaos, also from our message boards, wrote in, and his vote for most disappointing game was Warp. Remember Warp?
Yeah, I can see that one was slightly disappointing.
So he says had so much potential,
me.
but one thing I cannot abide is getting stuck and having to start one's game all over again in the modern age.
There are a couple of pretty breaking flaws in Warp. I think ultimately
It can destroy you, man.
I fought through it.
Yeah.
And I was like, screw you. Like, I think I even forgot that I played that game this year.
I do remember when we talked about it, you had a couple things that were glitchy that you had problems with.
There are a couple,
You had to completely restart.
And some of those boss battles are fucking stupid. but yeah, and it had a lot of good potential to it too. Yeah, that would be right up there with Quantum Conundrum for me.
And Johnny, you also wrote in and said Fire Pro Wrestling.
He hates that game.
He does. He hates
that game.
He hates it.
Why?
He says, well,
He
I'll tell
yelled
you
at us
why.
for not complaining about the game.
He did. He said, I can't wait for Jeremy to play. And I never ended up actually checking it out. He's like, I wanted you to play it so you could bitch about it because it's terrible. But here's why, you ask. I wanted a good wrestling game, and this fucking sucked. The demo lured me into a false sense that the game would go deeper and more complex and just have a cutesy exterior. Shitty controls, shitty game mechanics, shitty collision detection, and a super shitty online multiplayer experience, unbalanced as you could
I'll
get.
agree with that.
Blech. Bad game. I would rather watch 100 Bill Goldberg promos than play this game another 5 minutes.
I would too.
Well, you love Bill Goldberg.
I like Bill Goldberg, so.
So there you go. I ended up not ever checking it out. I think it's still on my hard drive, if you can believe that shit. So maybe I should check it out and see if it's worth all
Your
that
hard
hate.
drive is like that warehouse in Indiana and Raiders of the Lost
It is.
Ark.
Yeah.
It's just never ending, and it's just things that have been boxed up
just
for years
catalogs.
and not touched.
Yes.
You dick.
Game's just
That is so right.
game's just sitting there, still in their cellophane.
I hate it. It's so right, though.
The Holy Grail's
Sitting
in there
there.
somewhere.
I hate myself. All right. Can we move on now
Yes.
from disappointments to something I have far less experience with this year, and that's multiplayer experience.
I didn't have a lot either.
It's rough, right?
I didn't have a lot of choices.
I stopped
here.
playing multiplayer.
I do have a choice, however.
I stopped playing multiplayer and DLC and most games.
Yeah.
So, do you want to start it off then for multiplayer? Do you want me to start?
No, I can start it off.
Okay.
Mine, yeah, no, it is multiplayer.
Okay.
And what I
Are
like,
you trying to justify this now?
and what I like about it is that it is that feeling of multiplayer without having to, because one of my problems is kind of synchronizing with people.
Yes.
Yeah, that is rough.
Because here at this table, we've often said, let's
do
this, and then we never see each other online.
Right.
And so my choice was actually SSX, which I didn't play nearly enough of. Like, I'm like, I barely played this game. I don't even.
And you
think
bought it?
Yeah,
So you own it, so you
Yeah.
can play anytime. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. I need to go back to it because
Yeah.
they have a bunch of DLC. They have some free DLC and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I was looking
I don't
for
know
it.
why. Yeah, I think I got distracted by something else at the time. And but what I really liked was the way that you could argue that it's just a leaderboard with the virtual racers
Yeah.
down the
Okay.
slopes, but it's so different from a leaderboard. It feels like you're playing multiplayer.
Yep, agreed.
Because
Because they're racing next to you,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
and so I get into the competition mode with that.
So while they can't attack you, you still are trying to beat
Right.
their stuff. So
And so and I really like it because it's not something that you have to necessarily synchronize with other people to do.
Right.
And so you can leave. I think I was going through and trying to beat all your times on that or something like that,
Yeah.
and expecting you to come back and try to beat my times. And I like that it's got that sort of element into it because one of the big things for multiplayer is continued playability.
Yeah.
And I think that's built in, and the fact that it's built in not as a separate mode, but that's basically the core,
Yeah.
a core element, or it's mixed in with the core element of the
Yeah.
game, I should say. I guess the story mode would be the core element. Screw the story mode.
come on, you got to get all those good
Screw
snowboarders.
the fucking hazard.
What's that guy's
Runs.
name? that you're chasing down.
Oh yeah, who,
Because
used
you're
to,
a
who used to be
team.
a buddy.
You're a team,
Yeah.
but you're taking down the one guy.
Yeah, it was kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I really liked that. When I first saw that happening, I'm like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And it's probably my favorite feature of the entire game.
It really, I mean, it makes you chase after him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fantastic about it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I did have a runner-up with, well, I'll save the runner-up.
go ahead.
No, I'll save the runner-up.
Okay. I had a couple runner-ups that I'll also save then, but like I said, I didn't play.
Since we have a limited field, I don't want to step on somebody's actual choice
I
for the
didn't
runner-up.
play a lot of multiplayer this year, so I gotta pretty much go with the one I spent probably the most time with in a traditional multiplayer setting, and that would be Mass Effect 3, which I really
Did you play a lot of that?
I did play a lot of it for a while.
Remember. Yeah, sure.
Back at the beginning of this year,
Yeah.
I played quite a bit of it for a small period of time, and then I kind of never went back to it. I really liked the format. I thought it was fun when I got into a group of people that I knew, and we kind of, being able to run around with those kind of Mass Effect powers and weapons and abilities, and doing it with 3 other people,
Right.
and kind of all syncing up your actions on the on the board, so you see a guy fly through the air and he's still kind of shooting
So it's
the guy.
kind of like
and-
what the game is simulating, like the single-player experience is simulating doing.
Exactly.
But
where you have the
actually
the
flowing.
the non-controlled players
Yeah.
that are running around doing it. Now you have friends that are doing it.
Right.
So it's a lot of fun. I really like the way that they introduced new characters and new options when you could earn points and then buy those packs in
Yep.
game or spend actual money. I didn't like that aspect because I did it a couple times. But and then so you would get packs that would give you new weapons
Yeah.
and kind of new abilities and new characters that you could then increase their abilities. And it was just a really smart, fun way to do it. And I really enjoy that gameplay. So
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
I'm gonna kick it up. I wanted to say Dragon's Dogma. I know it's not a multiplayer game, but
It's one of my runner-ups.
It's such a huge vibe. I mean,
We got a lot of write-ins for that,
was
too.
It's a community vibe.
yeah, and that was like
It fits in the thing like what Craig said when
Yeah.
it's one of those where it's hard to match up times with people.
Right.
Yeah.
And that one you don't need to.
yeah.
Right.
Because you can just use your friend's stuff.
And I always thought that was I love that aspect. I mean, Craig brought up SSX. That was another cool thing. Mine where I put the most time in though. I wanted to say Borderlands 2, but I haven't played it anymore. Gotham City Imposters.
Really?
I
forgot
played
you were playing
a
that.
ton of that. Like I would just sit there, and it's,
Wow.
yeah.
I do not remember this.
and because
He
I
did play
got
quite a
on
bit.
the I got
You
on
played the demo
I got
first,
on
right?
the beta early, and
That's
I
right,
really
that's
got
right,
I
that's
really
right.
enjoyed it. And there's just something about it. I love the characters. I love
Yeah.
opening up
Because you ended up
little
buying the
outfits.
game, and I was
Yep.
surprised you bought the game.
And I was surprised myself because it's really a multiplayer game, which I'm
Oh, yeah.
not. I don't do that a lot, but I just felt like
It's
there was-
only a multiplayer
Yeah, it's
game.
only yeah, but I just felt there was like this. I felt even.
Yeah.
Like I never felt like I was getting like
It's
know.
got enough quirky stuff that I can see balancing being very good.
And to see like you're a Batman and you're flying or quote unquote Batman, you're imposter, and you're flying through the air, and all of a sudden there comes another one across your screen.
Yeah.
All those little actions, or like next thing you know, the Joker crew are beating up one of your Batman, and then all of a sudden you see all these guys coming on the one thing, like all attacking at once. It's back to the Red Dead stuff. It's back to any type of multiplayer where all that fun was happening. Borderlands 2, I had fun playing it, but nothing fun like that was happening. It was just, well, let's do missions.
Yeah.
And you run into a group of people, and everybody shoots them, and then you're done.
Yeah, and it's just like, who wants the weapon? I'm like, if it's sniper, take it. I don't care. I'm like, I already got what I want.
That totally sums up every multiplayer experience in Borderlands.
Yeah, it's like,
Pretty accurate.
Shoot a bunch of people and then go. Anybody need a shotgun?
no.
Okay,
no.
just leave it.
I'll take it.
Hold on, I gotta go buy ammo.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah.
My runner-up was actually Max Payne 3, which had...
I didn't do any of the
It
multiplayer.
was largely, your basic third-person view shooter multiplayer stuff, but they had a few different modes. I mentioned, I can't remember the names of them now, but there was the one where you could be turned into like Max Payne, and so then everybody was chasing you down.
Oh,
So,
that's right, yeah.
and then there was the mode where it would randomly give you had to go through like 5 rounds with your gang. It was Gang Wars, I believe is what it was called.
Okay,
And
yeah.
so you would go through 5 different things where you had different objectives, and then you get to you go through 4 of them, and then you get to the 5th one, and depending on how well you did, that gave you bonuses
That's right.
for the team deathmatch at the end. Just some really, and it was fun.
A nice mix-up.
It was a nice mix of
traditional
things.
ways.
Those special perks that you could use when you gave yourself loadouts. That one was really good too. I didn't play it as much as I maybe even wanted to. I was meant to go back to that, but and then I was disappointed with myself for not playing hardly anything for Transformers: Fall of Cybertron multiplayer.
Me too.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I really liked the Transformers War for Cybertron. No. Yeah, War for Cybertron
Yeah.
was the first one. It's weird because this one was the prequel to the first one. Right? No. Sequel. I can't even remember
Sequel,
now.
yeah.
Sequel. Yeah.
That's all right.
Anyway, I'm all mixed up. I really liked that, and it was basically the same. I mean, it was largely the same stuff,
Yeah.
but I didn't get into it. So.
One that I didn't think about until you were talking about SSX, because it is a more non-traditional
Yeah.
kind of multiplayer way to think of it. But one that probably maybe even should have taken over Mass Effect for me was Need for Speed, Most Wanted. The way that they do those billboards and putting everybody's things in there. I mean, I spent hours
Yeah.
trying to go through and make sure that every billboard in my city was me.
I mean, your ultimate opinion of that game wasn't even all that high.
It wasn't in terms of, because it just seemed so
Yeah.
limited at the end.
No, yeah.
But yeah, when I had a blast when I was playing it,
Yeah.
for sure. And that billboard thing was brilliant, and the way that they had all the leaderboards set up all around with as far as like every time you go by a speed camera and they give you a list of
Yeah.
everybody who
Right,
had it.
right.
It was just a really, really awesome way to introduce that, and it was that aspect of it, the leaderboard aspect of it, that was all in real time and present all the time.
Yeah.
Was even more fun than playing multiplayer when we played that night. Just having those constant. You drive along and you see a billboard and somebody else's avatars on it. You're like,
Nice.
fuck that noise.
Yep.
I'm going for it.
And people have changed. There's some new ones up because you got me the game, and
That's
there's
right.
some new ones up. So I'm gonna have to own those.
You're going to destroy some stuff.
It was nice returning to the game, though. It was
Yeah.
fun playing it again. Yeah.
Awesome.
We did
Without
have
having to run it like 8 days, 9 times.
this one. A lot of people had some input on this as well. Gotham City Imposters came up from a couple people actually.
Excellent.
Send me an invite.
The multiplayer.
That's probably
when you're on.
Yeah. Well,
Halo
yeah, that's
4.
true.
Halo 4, of course,
not
got
on
some
Netflix.
Sure.
nominations. Mass Effect 3 got a couple.
Sure.
Borderlands 2,
Yep.
the usual suspects. But I highlighted a couple out here that maybe needed some further explanation. So, or that helped back it up. And that one of those, I didn't know if we were going to talk about it, was Dragon's Dogma. That came from Booth Dom as well on our website. And he says, weird one, and I'm not totally sure it counts, which I think it does. It counts as multiplayer. But the most fun thing for me was porting in friends' tunes, and likewise, the thought of mine wandering off helping others while I wasn't playing.
Yeah.
Which I think is great, because you would see all those pictures, and there's your dude standing there with other people's
Jared
groups.
Snakehead Fish.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, there's Dippity.
There's my guy.
Like, look at Dippity. He got a new armor.
And then
Come back, little
I wanted to
buddy.
highlight this one because we don't talk a lot about fighting games a lot
No.
on the show. So it's an represented category for us.
It is.
But the JA Gamer wrote in
Amongst many categories.
about Street Fighter Cross Tekken. The game didn't go over so well in the fighting game community because I think a lot of people were playing all by their lonesome. But playing that game co-op, i.e., you controlling one character and your friend controlling the other on your tag team, is probably the most fun I've
I
had
didn't
this year in
realize
a
that was
video game.
feature.
Yeah, so
That's pretty tight.
it's a good point. If they're playing by
cool.
themselves, maybe if that's a linchpin of the game or a big aspect of the game. If you're playing by yourself, it's probably not the same experience if they're offering it up for a co-op experience.
Yeah.
So thanks, Jay, because I'd like to hear about that. Because I'm not going to check out that game on my own. So
No.
it's nice to hear that that's fun. I can imagine that being a blast.
Yeah,
So they come
definitely.
out with a new controller.
What do you mean?
I need a 6 button.
Oh, like a
Yeah.
actual
You
like.
can get those.
I know, but I want like Xbox stamped one, and I want a joystick, and I want a little table.
You want everything.
I do. I want the Nintendo. What is it? What was it? The Advantage.
Yeah, the NES Advantage, but that
NES
was only 3 buttons.
Not the same thing.
You want the joystick though.
The joystick.
I love me some NES Advantage
Because that was perfect. It had
I
the
hear
joystick,
you.
and the base was well enough
It's only 2 buttons, but it had
to
the
put in your lap. The turbos up
you
top.
can do the turbo.
Yeah, yeah,
Turbo, yo.
Cheater.
Click on that turbo.
yeah. I had the other one. I love that one. The NES, and it was all like aromatically or whatever you call it.
The Max.
The Max.
NES Max
Yeah, that
with
thing
the
was
circle.
awesome. Oh, you could get it.
All right, anyway.
Bam, bam, hitting people in the face.
Single player game experience. Favorite single player game experience of the year. This is it. This is the big one.
Why is it the big one?
I don't know. Because it's the last one. I guess.
See, I guess for me, I wanted to focus more on the disc games because I've talked about,
Yeah.
the XBLA and indie ones were
Right.
all single player ones
Yeah.
as well. I know it can be the sort of supersede, but then a lot of disc games can get overlooked as well. Anyway, I think this was the hardest one for me.
Was it?
Debating it. XCOM actually ramped up there pretty quickly for me.
It's fun.
It is it's very memorable, and I've been sinking a lot of hours into it. But to be perfectly honest, if I look back at the way I've reacted to games over 2012,
Yes.
it has to be Asura's Wrath.
Nice.
Sure, the gameplay, like running around doing the general fights, pretty much ass.
Yeah.
I will admit that.
Yeah.
A lot of quick time events, yes, but it's
All quick time
such
events.
a weird and unique experience, and just it's one of those things where I played it and I wanted to tell everybody about it, like constantly.
Yes.
And I did, and you all hate me for it now, and I'm still talking about it
We'll have more on that
months later.
We'll have more on that later too.
Okay, all right.
From a writing
All
category.
right, sounds good. All right, okay.
So yeah, I would agree with that as well.
I've got
It is a runner-up for me.
I've got a close runner-up, but I'll save that for later.
Okay. I'll go with my pick then, which there was a couple. I played a lot of games this year, especially disc games, and I think of the single player experience a lot more on
Yeah.
the disc side, like
Yeah,
you were
you-
saying, you
yeah.
know, as opposed to the XBLA. But I played a lot, and there were a lot that were up there.
played a
and
lot.
I kind of went back and forth on a couple. One of these is a more recent game. My ultimate pick was, and it was because of the way that it hit me and the way that it kind of ruled how I played it, and it was Far Cry 3.
Okay, sure.
And it kind of came out of nowhere for me.
Sure.
It almost borderline surprise game of the year for me as well. It was finite. It was I don't think I'll ever go back to it.
Okay.
But the way that it hit me and the way that I played it and just the world that you were in was so awesome.
Sure.
And I had a blast with it, and it might have hit me at the right time.
Right.
With everything else I was playing. I don't know what the whole perfect storm was, but it hit me, and I loved it a lot.
Nice.
A lot.
Cool.
I almost thought you were going to say Spec Ops.
Did you?
Yeah.
That was
Just the way you prefaced it.
Yeah.
But I don't. Yeah. Anyway,
it was close
Sean,
too, though.
what you got?
Transformers Fall of Cybertron was really good. Like
Yes, it
really
is.
good.
It was good,
There
but
was
also
a-
very frustrating.
Yes,
at points.
yes, exactly. And that's kind of why it got booted off my top.
One of the things that irritated me was that it became more single player because you couldn't do the co-op runs.
Yeah.
On missions.
You know what, too, though, in that while that's good, I think that maybe a little bit of the novelty of them doing it right wore off by that point.
Yeah.
So it wasn't enough to send it over like the War for Cybertron was, when you're like, finally somebody does a fucking good Transformers game, you know? So it was good, but you're like, the frustration weighs out a lot more at that point.
It was the end. I think it was the ending and how that played out.
Was awesome.
That really kind of changed the
good.
feeling and really put it up there on the list. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even-
that was on my list until I was like doing my last cutoff.
Thinking about it.
yeah. Well, even COD Blobs Deuce. I mean, I've never,
Really?
because
Wow.
I've never completed like a first person shooter like that, and then thought I really want to go back and try to play it again, and but that's not it. That's not it.
Okay.
That's not my top one.
That's not it.
But that
I can't
one,
wait.
it's Azura's Wrath. I mean, it's Azura's Wrath. That game, yeah. I mean, everything that Craig said and more.
People are going to be so sick of a service.
Well, it's.
I didn't
We're
pick
done.
it.
We're done. We're done with it.
Are we?
But
Yeah, no, there's nothing else.
unless
have no
they
reason
put
to
out
talk
some
about it again.
DLC, I would like to see some more DLC. But yeah, Azura's Wrath. I mean, there's a lot of good
More
games,
Wrath.
but that one was just. There's so many
Wrathier.
times I'm like, let's kick some ass, Azura.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
I did
do it.
I did have a close runner-up with Max Payne 3 because I sunk a lot of time into that one,
Yeah.
going into multiple playthroughs as well, and it just a really, really nice blend of immersiveness and smooth gameplay in a lot of respects, except sometimes when I would try to bullet time on a pier. That was a little frustrating, but otherwise, it was also it was a very good single player experience for me.
Couple runner-ups for me. Borderlands 2 was almost my pick. I love that world. I think it's funny. I think it's really well done.
Yeah.
It's great.
I love that you think of it as a single player experience.
I totally do. And it's just because I don't play a lot of
I would much rather play it single player.
I do. Because like we highlighted before, it just devolves into the same thing. But anyway, so that was up there really close. It is really well done, and I wanted to continue to play it, but it didn't have the drive that like Far Cry did for me. There was something that clicked with me with that game. Mass Effect 3 was another one that was really close for me. Unfortunately, I think I loved 2 so much that 3 was maybe a little bit of a step down for me, and I think that kept it out. Still loved what I was doing, but I felt it was a little less heartfelt. So it was almost, I don't want to say disappointing, but I didn't have the love for it that I wanted to. So that was it for me. Anything else from you guys?
No.
We all good? All right. We had a bunch of people write in for this one as well. Favorite single player experience. We had some votes for Borderlands 2. Lego Batman 2 showed up on there as a co-op experience as well. As being able to share it with other people. But not, still playing single player.
I liked a lot about Lego Batman.
Yeah.
2.
I should finish that.
Hawkman. Lego Hawkman 2.
Mass Effect 3 got a lot of mentions. We also got a handful of votes for Dragon's Dogma on this list as well, which I like that showed up on like 3 different categories.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. A couple I want to expand on, though. Havoc and Chaos wrote in and said his vote for single-player experience was Walking Dead. And he said, while its gameplay wasn't especially challenging or innovative, the story it tells is incredible. As a player, one just becomes so invested with these characters and the choices you've made to affect them that even the blackest and most jaded of gamer hearts are touched at one point or another, which I think we can all attest to.
Yes.
Because some of us have the blackest and most jaded hearts ever.
I agree.
And by some of us, I mean me.
And a big eye with mouths eat it.
And Snakehead Fish wrote in, his pick was Dragon's Dogma.
Well, yeah.
And he says, wow, I didn't expect to get into this game as much as I did. The graphics were pretty, animation solid. The huge monsters you get to fight with incredibly cool. The pawn system was damn fun. It was great to use my friends' characters and hope they used mine. His runner-up also was Mass Effect 3, but the game got overshadowed by its ending, which for the record I was fine with, but the fact they went and changed it put the game in a bad light. I will never download and play the alternate ending, ever. That's how the game was meant to end. Crying fanboys changed it, not interested in what crybabies cry about, and they still weren't happy.
Did they change it or did they just extend it?
They extended it. I guess that counts.
That's what I thought.
But ultimately, I definitely agree with his point. That's part of the reason why I never went and got it either, because I'm like, I kind of played the ending.
Yeah.
I'm fine with how it ended. I don't need an explanation.
It's not like Asura's Wrath.
And it's
I got it in there again.
And it's never, and like he says, they still weren't happy about it. That's the case. It's never going to be enough.
Yeah.
Because it's never going to be the ending they want, because it's over. It's over.
Yeah.
That's just how it is, people. Get over it.
I wonder if I can change my gamer tag to Asura's Wrath.
Oh, yeah.
You could pay for it.
I could say that every episode.
You could. You definitely could.
I'm just trolling our listeners.
Do you want me to?
That
might be a good segue into our other writing categories that folks had. We have a couple here.
All right.
John 8U wrote in a couple of categories, and one of them is, "Oh my God, shut the fuck up!" Game of the year, and that is Asura's Wrath. And he says, "I have a feeling you guys talked a longer time about it than will be needed to complete the game and all the DLC." It was this year's Red Faction Guerrilla. So thank you, John.
Well, that's high praise.
It is high praise.
That is high praise.
Well, he knows we're not going to take any of that negative, so. OMG, shut the fuck up game. Asura's Wrath. Also, he wrote in the category, learned my lesson, I sucked at the first game, so I don't need to buy the fucking sequel game, and that was Trials Evolution. So, there you go.
Yes.
Also, Booth Dom wrote in one of his categories, which would be most frustrating piece of crap that promised so much and delivered nothing but a kick in the balls that still to this day annoys the hell out of me, and I'll stop before I need to take medication, and that would be Fez.
Yes. That was a very divisive game.
And a fantastic category.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
I loved when I played Fez, because then I was like, yep, trial for me.
I love that game.
My brain doesn't work this way.
I still love it, even in spite of all that stuff. Still love it. All right, so thanks everybody who wrote in with your categories and your thoughts, and we appreciate it. And thanks for listening for the whole year.
Yeah.
Or most of the year, or whatever you listen.
Or if you're just tuning in.
Or if you're just tuning in. Sorry. This is what it's going to be. So real quick, we're going to take a look at our things that we're looking forward to this year, 2013. As always, I'm going to flash back real quick and say what we were looking forward to last year for 2012 and see how we did.
Sure.
I think I went really safe last year, so
Probably.
I always go safe.
That's because
I always
wasn't
try
this where
best.
you started doing this stuff?
Probably.
Stuff.
Are you saying I like looked forward and tried to protect myself?
Yes.
Well, we'll start with Sean. You looking forward to in 2012 Darksiders 2.
Yeah.
Little did you know then
I was.
how it was going to ruin your life.
Started off well.
Yeah.
It was going to destroy you. You also mentioned GTA 5, which I think we'll probably talk about in a little bit here.
Yeah.
Skullgirls
Yeah.
and Fortnite.
Fun.
Fortnite, which never ended up coming out.
I don't remember
The Epic
Fortnite.
game.
Yeah.
The Epic XBLA, I think at the time, and it was the one with the kids, and you build up a fort, and at night, like the zombies come attack you.
I really don't remember this.
They announced it at like E3, like
Yeah.
a couple
Oh,
of
okay.
like last
That
2
sounds
years
kinda
ago
cool.
now, and it looked cool. They
Yeah,
just
it
still
did.
haven't done anything with it, so we'll see how that works. My picks, I had Retro City Rampage, I think, for the second year in a row, maybe. Still not out. Alan Wake, American Nightmare, Mass Effect 3, and Borderlands 2. I did awesome. I don't know what your guys' problems are. I don't know where I could have gone wrong. Craig, you were looking forward to Aliens Colonial Marines.
Yeah!
I thought you would have given them a year off, but you didn't.
No.
You still continued.
I'll ride them.
I hope it continues this year. Transformers Fall of Cybertron and Bioshock Infinite, which got pushed.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
So
Was that all I said?
that's all that we had here. Yeah,
Crazy.
You probably didn't care enough.
Boring.
I guess. We'll see if you
My
can,
list is boring.
We'll see
I'm
if you-
disappointed with myself.
You're the downloadable Craig.
you can
I
make up
know.
for it this year, right?
Ha.
So let's kick it off now. I'll start with one that we just had that was pushed back, and that's happening in a couple months, supposedly, hopefully, and that's Bioshock Infinite.
Yeah.
They
on
keep,
my list.
They keep pushing. They keep putting out new trailers for it. And I think there was just one at the MTV or not the MTV, the Video Game Awards on Spike a couple weeks ago, and it looks like a fucking cartoon now. They pretty much look animated. I think it looks like an animated feature. I think it's awesome looking. I think it's great looking. I
Yeah.
look forward to it a ton.
Me too.
Are you?
Yeah.
Did I take yours?
Well, that's on my list.
How could it not be?
Gears of War Judgment.
Yeah, I don't know about that so much.
I got it. I gotta check
It's
it out.
Baird.
It's Baird, but it's still Gears of War.
Is Cole in it? I can't remember.
It's
Is he running
Judgment.
around?
He better be in it.
It's a prequel, right? So it's taking place before. It's like a couple days before whatever Emergence Day or whatever.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like their story before everything happens. It's funny because I was listening back to our other episode about the things we were looking forward to, and we were talking about Gears of War 3, and I think we mentioned then about like until they do the prequel,
Yeah.
because it being the end, and
Yeah.
I'm like, well, here it is. Now the prequel's coming out.
And you know
Who would've thought?
they've been
What?
pushing it for some time now. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that one too.
Cool. It'll look great. It'll
Yeah.
play great.
Exactly.
It'll still be fun.
I had fun with all of them so
I
far.
just hate Baird so much,
Eh,
and he's the main guy.
maybe he's really cool in this.
And you know he's not going to die because it's a prequel, so I don't even have that to hinge on.
Maybe this is Baird.
He should
Like,
die, and then he's a
clone.
robot,
Yeah.
a cyborg, and
he's
then you
been
learn
a
that he's
robot
been a robot the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be great.
See? See? You just wrote Gears of War.
He's an
Judgment.
android the whole
You
time.
just wrote Judgment right there.
We'll see. I can't wait to call that. Greg, you got anything?
No, I stupidly thought
No?
we were doing this a different episode. So I didn't actually
What about
pick up this
Aliens
stuff.
Colonial Marines?
Say that one. Go with it. It's coming out like in February.
Yeah.
What could go wrong?
I don't know.
Are you not looking forward to it now?
Well, it's just my disc radar has been thrown so off.
Yeah.
This past year,
Gotcha.
moving away from discs, I'm like, I might play it. I might just boot up Aliens versus Predator again.
So you're not even looking forward to it. You don't feel one way or the other.
Yeah, I mean, it's if I get like if it's a red box or something, I might play it.
You've cooled on it. They've taken too long to get it out to you.
No, it's just I don't know.
You've changed.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
changed, Craig. I used to know you. All right. Well, how about Dead Space 3?
No.
Sure.
You know what? I'm looking forward to it, but I'm apprehensive about it. I don't like the co-op aspect of it. It's such a solitary game for me, like the 1 and 2, that I worry about how that's going to be when they have witty banter all of a sudden,
Well, yeah.
and it's like getting rid of any kind of tension.
Well, they've done some work to explain it. It's, I mean, one thing to keep in mind is that the other character is soldier, and so his ways of reacting to things to that same tension is going
Yeah.
to be. But apparently, I think the co-op character might be losing his mind.
Oh,
And
really?
So they are going to be seeing things that the other player won't see, and so
That's interesting.
There's going to be some so there's going to be some elements into co-op that are going to be
That's awesome. So now you're
unique
playing
to
as a
it.
co-op. Like, okay,
Yeah.
so I'm imagining now you're playing as a co-op,
Yeah.
playing with a friend, and the guy's like
or,
fucking just
or
starts
is
shooting.
Isaac crazy and not noticing things?
So he just starts shooting shit, and you're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm attacking that dude that's right there by you."
Yeah,
That's awesome.
potentially.
If that happens, I'm all in.
I think
that's
this
brilliant.
is
That'd
just,
be freaking
just what I've
shit.
extrapolated from what they've been talking about.
That's really cool.
because they've been trying. Because a lot of people are apprehensive for the exact same reason,
Yeah.
and they've been trying to say, "No, it's still going to be scary." There's these other things.
Yeah, right.
You get
I finished 2. I forgot I finished 2.
You did finish 2.
I finished
yeah,
2.
that's right.
I can play 3.
We can play co-op.
Hey!
All right. You got anything else you were looking forward to?
Castlevania Lord of Shadows 2.
Yes, sir.
Really, really, really.
I hope I don't get stuck
really
in-
Love that
at a
first.
wall like I did in the first one. Fuck that wall.
I never
God.
had that problem.
Lord of Shadows.
I'm the only person in
Yeah.
existence that had that problem. Apparently,
I will play that game. And
Yeah, I will too. I'm really
yes.
looking forward to it as well.
Yeah.
It was so, other than getting stuck in a wall potentially, I guess.
Yeah.
I found the first one to be beautiful and like really surprising,
Sure.
and just a crazy adventure.
Yeah.
I loved how it ended. I was completely like, it knocked the wind out of me, and I really like to see where they go with this one. And what they do.
I'm all for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. I have another one that's GTA 5.
That was on my list from last year.
Are you not looking forward to it at all? Like, do you have no
No.
interest?
yes,
Are you completely burnt on any of that Rockstar stuff?
yes.
That's the weirdest question to ask him. I mean, that's I wouldn't even after his,
Unless
last
you
couple
can
shows.
prove to me that they
Yeah,
have improved
yeah,
on pretty much everything in the first game.
We'll see
or
what we can
fourth
do.
game.
but only made it bigger for Craig.
Oh fuck that!
It is bigger. You have that.
Oh yeah.
What if they did Bully 2?
They're gonna make you do more hours?
What if they did Bully 2?
Bully 2, maybe.
I wish they would, right?
Yeah.
I love
They
Bully.
might mess it up now.
I love Bully, though.
Yeah.
Shut up. You're such a hater.
So jaded.
I loved... Here's the thing. When you talked about GTA, right? I'm trying to think how I need to word
Say it. I dare you to say it. I dare you right now to say you love GTA 4.
I didn't love GTA 4. I liked the idea of GTA 4, and I liked aspects of it, right? So when you were talking about it, it made me remember all the things I disliked about it, and
That's
I
right.
got so angry about it. And then I'm like, well, maybe I'm not looking forward to GTA 5. Then I watched that trailer they put out, and I'm like, this is gonna be fucking awesome.
Oh, trailer.
Because I'm an idiot. But it's gonna be still GTA.
It is still going to be GTA. I'm still going to put like 30 hours into it and then quit. and
Be Darksiders about it.
and well,
Make it.
40.
no,
You
that
still won't be done
game
with
is that
most
game is way
quest
too
missions.
big to be a Darksiders.
Story missions.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But yeah, that's a I could see that game being pretty fun.
Yeah.
I could say I'm looking forward to this year's XBLA premiere events, the Block Party and the
Summer of Arcade and stuff.
Agreed.
because they always drop at least one really, really cool exclusive.
Summer of Arcade this last year was pretty strong. Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
It was
For the most part?
really pretty good.
Yeah.
I think I liked a lot of Block Party too, if I remember correctly. I don't remember what
can't
came
remember.
out then, but
But I know that they've been putting those Connect games out. And
That's
they've
right.
got Connect Sports.
I don't know if they stuck to their one a month, but
Yeah, well,
they dumped a bunch here at the end.
this one, it looks like they're taking just part of Connect Sports, so you don't have to buy the game.
Right.
They've got, I think, bowling and darts, and one other one is not darts. I can't think of the other one. But I'm looking forward to bowling, just to be on that. If it's on that multiplayer,
Yeah.
level, that would be fantastic for people that have Connect. If it's at a good price point, their bowling is fantastic for Connect Sports.
So are they just separating them out, or are they
It sounds
completely
like yep,
different?
there's I believe they're separating them out. They
So
may
it's just the
make-
version you would play in Connect Sports.
in Connect Sports.
You can buy
makes
singly.
sense.
I'm wondering if they're going to make a tweak here and there, maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm looking for because that's one game. Even though I have it on discs, if it's multiplayer, I'll probably buy it on
Yeah.
XBLA just to play online. I think the Connect bowling for Connect Sports is fantastic.
Yeah.
You can put spins on balls.
I think that was my
I
most
don't
fun.
I don't know how you can put a spin on a ball and connect, but you can put it on.
Because you move your hand.
Okay.
It's a camera shot. It
I
knows
know what it is, man. But
Do you?
But the Retro City Rampage,
Is that on your list?
that's on my list.
Do you know if he's still planning on XBLA for that?
I actually
You
have
don't know?
not heard a single thing about it.
I don't
So
know
you
if it's
guys-
happening.
yeah.
because,
you guys will play it
once it
before
was
me.
released on PC and PS3, I have
Fuck
not.
it, I'm done.
I have
Yeah,
not heard any news
exactly.
about it whatsoever.
Put a
Yeah.
fork in it. And then they're from Double Fine, The Cave.
Yes, that's looking to be quite excellent.
That just the graphics, the ideas. You're like 5. You can. I think it's a group of 5, and you pick from like 7 or something. Like
I don't
that.
really know a lot about it. So.
And you go
You
exploring.
go through different characters, and each character seems to have their own little story and
Yeah.
their own little cave. Yeah, the cave narrates.
and
Nice.
it's just it just looks really really sharp.
It looks, it's a really solid platformer.
and their
Looks-
name behind it,
yes,
you know it's going to be fine.
it kind of reminded me a little bit of Trine 2.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah.
Graphically and sort of design wise, in some elements. I mean, because there are a lot of different types of characters,
Yeah,
all on their different quests.
Yeah.
There's a time traveler, I think, in there.
I think so.
And a
Yeah,
hillbilly.
The last thing I have on my list is Dead Island Riptide, which
yeah.
here's my thing about it. I really enjoyed Dead Island, right? It has some faults with it, obviously, but it's mechanic wise and just the way you run around and do stuff on that island. It was a lot of fun. I had a blast with it. I know we played a multiplayer a couple
Yeah,
times. That
yeah.
was fun.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of looking at it like this game when it comes out. What are they updating? What are they fixing? What are they tweaking? You gotta hope that some of that stuff is going to be a more enjoyable experience. Like some of those things that were a problem.
Agreed.
Right.
And what new things are they throwing into the mix? I don't think it's going to be just this in a different setting. So I kind of am looking forward to it as maybe more of a, even like I look at how much I enjoyed Left 4 Dead 2 over the first one.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be even less the same as that. You know what I mean? I think they're going to be a much more of a growth between those two. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they tweak it and just how tighter the experience is. Because I enjoyed the first one quite a bit. So we'll see.
I need to actually play that game. I
Yeah.
bought it.
Yeah, me
Hopefully
too.
not get stuck on stairs.
I bought it and then
Why do you keep getting stuck on everything?
no. And well,
You got a problem.
Remember my problem with
No,
that game?
I didn't even play the game.
That my problem with the
Oh,
game.
that's right.
Where I did that one mission and then all of a sudden it like transported me to the middle of town.
Yes,
without
that's
having
what it
a
was.
like cutscene or anything. And then when I
Yeah.
started over
You
again,
didn't know what to do.
yeah. And then I got to where I needed to go, and
Yeah.
that was the last I played it because I was so like, "What the fuck am I supposed to do?"
I
That was
bought
a
it.
good
I
game.
bought it too, and don't think I've played it since I bought it.
Yeah, that's what happens when you buy games.
The end. That's
Yep.
my life. The
It
story
just-
of my
it
life.
Gets on the shelf, and you're like, "I own that," and you can point at it.
I have no immediacy to play that.
See,
I have all these other new things to play.
It's right before. It's right after Dance Central.
It's right by Dead Rising. Yeah. That other game I bought
Dead
and didn't
Rising
play. Yes. That other one I own that don't.
Is that still in the wrapper?
I don't know if it is or not.
Paxton might
I'd invite
rip
you
it
over
off,
to
yeah.
check it out, but you're never invited to my home ever again, jerk. So that's all for my list. You got anything
Yeah,
else, Sean?
no, that's-
you
that's-
tapped out.
yeah, I'm tapped
And
out.
who knows what? There's going to be a ton. I mean, we didn't cover a lot of XBLA stuff, so there's a lot of that stuff that we don't get to know too much ahead of time.
Exactly.
Unfortunately. And a lot of stuff that's stuck in cycles that we don't get to hear about either. So who knows when they're coming. We had a couple other nominations from folks. That's stuff they're looking forward to in 2013. On that list would be Tomb Raider, which I'm also looking forward to that a little bit. I got to play a little bit at San Diego last year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And I completely forgot about
It's
it.
like the Green Arrow Tomb Raider or whatever.
You know, I forgot that it never came out. Like until I saw somebody say, "I'm looking forward to Tomb Raider." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that never came out."
Yeah, where she's
No, I've
like,
been hearing a lot about it.
it's
It
like
looks good.
Green Laura or whatever, and she's like brand new.
Yeah, and-
she's like, you know.
I know I
just
was
starting
hunting
out.
deer.
Yeah,
I was doing that at San Diego.
yeah,
You're in a plane crash like area, and
And
you
then
have to hunt deer.
yeah, and you get trapped on an island or whatever.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Also, an XBLA game that somebody mentioned was Mars Warlogs. Have you guys seen anything on that? It's like an RPG that's coming XBLA.
No, I don't think I've heard.
Looks interesting.
Mars
But I think it's
Warlogs.
just showing some cutscenes so far, so I don't know too much about it. Star Wars 1313. I still don't have faith it'll make it out this year, but I guess we'll see.
But it's got 2 13s in it.
Splinter,
Got to come out in 2013.
Oh, yeah.
Splinter Cell Blacklist,
So they make that-
and Young Justice Legacy. So there's a couple of things, which I don't know anything about that game either. So
Which one?
Is that the
Young
no,
Justice Legacy.
I was thinking of the DC fighting game.
Injustice?
But that's
Another one somebody wrote in, I think, as
Yeah.
well. Injustice, the DC fighter,
Yeah,
where you can have Catwoman
fight Superman.
beat up Superman
That would make sense.
and win.
Yeah.
So you'll have a problem with that game, is what you're saying.
Like huge problem.
It's not realistic.
I can't believe this.
Go!
How can she just scratch him?
I can't believe this fake superhero would beat this fake superhero. This fake superhero would be so much stronger in real life if any of these things existed
Not
and
in
were
real life. But come on, in the context of their own universe, yes.
In the context of neither one of them really existing, one should be able to beat up the other in a fake world.
Exist in a sense.
Existence. What? I don't know. That's it. We're done.
Thank
Yes.
God.
Hurtful. That's it for us. You guys, anything else you want to add about 2012, 2013?
No.
Predictions?
It was a pretty good year.
It is. I think we'll still be around. Are we going to stick around?
I hope so.
What happens if they do a new system?
Huh?
What happens if they do a new system? Are
Oh,
we going to continue to do our show?
you
Are we-
guys,
Oh,
if
you
you guys
mean
give me a
upgrade.
computer and I'll go to Steam, I guess. I don't know if I
That's
can-
for the new year. We're going to do a Steam show.
There you go.
It's this show. We're just changing
Cool.
it.
Can you
Sorry,
give me
everybody.
one of those surfaces or whatever.
So we're going to try and work in a
extended hard
fourth
drive
podcast
and-
for Craig to do a month.
Yeah.
Is that a problem? Is that going to work?
We can cut
Thumbs
one
up.
of them,
I believe
probably.
those not. All right. SignedInPodcast.com is our website. You find links to our Twitter. I'm on Twitter at SignedInPodcast. Sean is on Twitter at,
Shonix.
and Craig, Professor Dresser, is on Twitter at.
Can I say it? The pull list.
I'm sorry, what was that again?
The pull
Craig,
list.
Professor Dresser, is at.
The pull list.
Awesome. We got that. The pull list? Mm-hmm. Awesome. You can also find links to our Facebook, all of our past episodes, our forums, which you could join and talk. We'd love to talk to you over there. We post on there once in a while, make fun of each other. Mm-hmm. It's like this in real time.
Yes.
And all of the other Pseudo Radio shows like The Pull List
Word.
and 3 Die Block. You can email us at comments@signedinpodcast.com. And that's it, kids. Next episode, I have no idea what the fuck's coming out in January. I mean, this is January, right? Shit, I just broke the fourth wall.
I don't know where this is coming out.
I don't know either.
Something.
We'll be talking about something.
You know we're going to play some games.
If we don't, we'll make shit up.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that the year
Steam
of
show will start early.
2013, the puppy should be not a puppy anymore, but later in the year. So that means,
You'll
Sean
get
gets
more
to
and
play
more
a little bit
increasing
more.
time.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
I think what those dogs do, those medium-sized dogs,
they get bigger.
they lose energy as they become like 2 years old, right?
But their bladder will get a little bit bigger.
Oh, so you don't have to take her out as often. Gotcha.
And she'll
that'll
get
probably
more
work.
of on a schedule instead of like, I'm up, I'm down, I'm
That's
up,
true.
I'm down.
That's
Yeah,
true.
That's what I'm looking for.
All right. Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, right. It will. I just ruined it right there.
You did. You jinxed it. She won't.
She's never.
Does she
gonna-
listen to the show?
Yeah.
Are
She
you worried
does.
about her
She
learning?
turns her heads at both of you guys. Like she tilts it.
Does she?
Yeah. Not so much me for some odd reason. Well, on Polish,
She doesn't
does.
listen to you.
But on this show, like she likes you guys.
Like, girl knows what she's doing.
I guess.
All right, we done?
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes.
Happy New Year.